dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle. No script, just thought raw and a little civil. Every question's got layers, so we peel back facts. From the real to the surreal, we don't hold back. Voices collide where ideas ignite. You tuned in, now step into the fight. This is more than talk, this is thought that counts. Welcome to the feed where the signal mounts.
How far would you actually go, to stay with the people you love?
That's a big question.
It really is, and it's kind of the core of what we're digging into today in this deep dive. We watched this online video panel recently, and it got into some pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, fascinating, but definitely unsettling territory sometimes. Consciousness uploading, cloning, even augmenting humans.
Exactly. And we know you, our listener, you're curious, right? You want the real insights, but without getting totally bogged down.
So we've tried to pull out the key bits from that video. It jumped around quite a bit from sci-fi shows like Black Mirror and Pantheon.
Right, to actual news about cloning attempts, animal regeneration, and then these newer technologies like electroceuticals. Heard of those?
Vaguely, yeah. It's an emerging area.
So our goal here is to sort of connect those dots, see the trends, figure out what it all might mean, and keep circling back to that human need for connection.
Absolutely, because it's all linked, isn't it? The digital, the biological. It seems driven by this desire to hold on to people, onto ourselves.
Okay, so let's start with that first one, consciousness uploading. Virtual worlds. The video brought up that Black Mirror episode.
Oh, yeah. The one that's, pretty disturbing, where they essentially clone brains digitally into these computer environments.
Right, and the initial pitch you sometimes hear is, this could be great for people with really severe physical problems. A way to continue digitally.
The digital afterlife, almost.
Yeah.
But the panel immediately pointed out the darker side. Potential for exploitation in those virtual worlds.
Like in that cartoon, Pantheon.
Exactly like Pantheon,
Right.
where the digital copies, the UIs, they face limits. Processing power dictates their experience. They even get forced to watch ads. It's grim.
Wow, so it forces that question, if you upload your consciousness, is that really you? Or just like a really sophisticated copy?
It's the classic philosophical problem, isn't it? The ship of Theseus. It's still the same thing if all the parts are replaced. Is a digital copy you.
And the video even threw in that weird unverified bit about China maybe trying to capture the soul for power, which is out there.
Definitely adds another layer of strangeness to the whole what is consciousness debate.
But even setting aside the soul capturing stuff, there are real economic questions, like tiered services, better digital lives for the rich.
Yeah, digital inequality. Imagine paying more for higher resolution consciousness or faster processing thoughts. It mirrors the real world.
A digital divide based on, your subscription plan. Crazy.
It suggests these virtual worlds might not be the utopias some imagine. Our existing problems could just follow us there.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. From digital to biological. Cloning. Biological copies.
Right. The video mentioned that news story about bringing back dire wolves. Romulus, was it?
Yeah, Romulus. But the panel was pretty skeptical. Sounded like they thought it might be a bit of a scam or maybe end up creating chimeras, not real direwolves.
Which makes sense. Genetically, it's incredibly complex. But they connected that idea back to Black Mirror again.
Oh, yeah. How?
Remember the episode with the bioprinter? It could supposedly make physical copies of people who were in the virtual world using their DNA.
Ah, right. So moving from just a digital copy to an actual physical one.
Exactly. Which brings up the historical stuff they touched on, like Bill Clinton, George Bush being against federal money for human cloning.
But acknowledging it probably carries on privately.
For sure. And it raises all sorts of ethical things, like the idea mentioned of cloning for spare parts.
Ugh. Yeah, that's unsettling. So if you can make a perfect biological copy, is that person really the loved one you lost? Or someone new?
That's the crux of it. Identity, individuality. It gets very complicated very quickly.
Okay. So not just digital copies, not just biological copies, but what about changing our current bodies? Human augmentation.
This is where electroceuticals came in.
Right, electroceuticals. That term really stuck with me. Using electrical fields to boost human abilities. They even hinted at moving body parts over time with electricity.
It sounds futuristic, but it's about directly interacting with our body's own systems, like using tiny electrical signals as medicine almost, reprogramming things.
And they gave a real-world example, didn't they? That super patch.
Yeah, the wearable patch claiming to send signals through the skin to the brain, improving sleep, focus, athletic performance.
By 17 to 25%. $60 a month. Makes you wonder.
Well, you definitely want to see robust, independent studies for claims like that. But the underlying principle that our bodies run on electrical signals, that's absolutely true.
And they speculated about other patches too, right? Delivering drugs, maybe even altering consciousness, like an alcohol patch or, well, they mentioned ayahuasca even.
Speculatively, yes. The potential applications are huge, ranging from clear medical benefits to much more lifestyle-oriented or even questionable uses.
It's a bit mind-bending. And that led straight into the work of Dr. Michael Levin, bioelectricity, morphogenesis. This was fascinating stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Dr. Levin's work provides the hard science behind why electroceuticals might actually be feasible. He explained how tissues form electrical networks.
Like hidden communication system.
Exactly. He called it a software layer between the genome, our DNA, and our actual physical form. These electrical signals tell cells what to do, where to go.
So it's not just the blueprint, it's the construction instructions too. And he said we can now read and write these instructions.
That's the claim. Reprogramming body parts, eyes, limbs, heads, without changing the genes themselves, just by changing the electrical patterns.
Okay, the examples were wild. Growing an eye on a tadpole's flank.
Yes, just by imposing the eye bioelectric signature. And it works anywhere, not just where eyes normally grow. It's like triggering a subroutine.
A subroutine call, like in computer programming.
Kind of. A simple electrical state kicks off the whole complex process of building an eye, and nearby normal cells get recruited to help build it.
That's incredible, a multi-layered system.
And it wasn't just eyes. He mentioned inducing hearts, even fins on animals that don't normally have them, control at the organ level.
And the planarian worms, growing two heads or none.
Right, by manipulating the voltage gradients across the whole body. Shows control at the body plant level.
But the frog leg regeneration, that sounded almost too good to be true. A 24-hour treatment leading to 1.5 years of regrowth.
With no further intervention, yes. That's the potential he highlighted. It works because those voltage changes directly influence which genes get turned on or off through known biological pathways.
And using AI to figure out how to tweak those signals. To fix birth defects, for instance.
Exactly. AI helps model these complex circuits and find the interventions, like which ion channel to target with a drug to get a desired outcome.
It suggests electroceuticals could be huge for regenerative medicine, maybe even more powerful than gene editing in some ways.
It feels like we're learning the body's electrical language. Okay, but then the video shifted again to this FLFE thing, focus life force energy.
Ah, yes. This took us into, shall we say, a different kind of territory.
Definitely. They claim to activate a high consciousness field around your house, your phone, an object.
And the claim benefits are pretty broad. Less stress, more energy, better creativity, EMF protection.
Even daily consciousness boosts and a personal conscious slider. A slider for your consciousness. It's certainly a unique concept. Different subscription tiers, allegedly giving different effects, even affecting you when you travel.
And it's activated online, no device, just quantum association via the web.
That's the claim. They measure it using the Hawkins scale of consciousness, apparently putting FLFE in the universal love zone. They even talk about making requests to divinity to boost the field.
The founders are called consciousness explorers.
Look, while they mention scientific research, the core ideas, remote consciousness fields, quantum association activation via website, are well outside established science. It's hard to verify empirically.
Yeah, it felt like a leap. But the video tried to tie it all back together. Convergence, speculation, mentioning GNR, that transhumanist idea.
Genetics, nanomachines, robotics, with self-replication, that whole potential future.
And other far-out ideas. Nanolinks to the brain, smart dust inside us, consciousness in space fields.
It covers the whole spectrum, from near-term tech like electroceuticals to, well, FLFE and space consciousness.
Which brings us right back where we started. Thinking about all this uploading, cloning, augmenting our bodies, maybe even these consciousness fields. How far would you go?
Would you embrace these things to stay connected? What are the benefits? What are the pretty significant risks?
It really pushes you to define what connection even means, what identity means, what being human means, I guess.
Especially as these lines between sci-fi and reality get blurrier and blurrier.
Yeah. So the big takeaway from this deep dive, things are moving fast. Biology, technology, they're merging in ways that were unthinkable not long ago.
Hopefully exploring this gave you, the listener, some of those aha moments, seeing the connections, even if the picture's still developing.
Right. If you're feeling more curious than confused, then mission accomplished, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And maybe leaves you with this final thought to chew on. In a world where you can upload a mind, clone a body, change yourself electrically, or maybe tap into a consciousness field, what does staying with someone truly mean anymore?
What's the real essence of that connection when the physical and even mental forms can change so drastically?
Something to think about as the future keeps unfolding.
Mic check, one voice, one spark. From the shadows to the bright, let's light the dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle, no script, just thought raw